Hello and welcome to Teleislas News, the most relevant and important news of the day.
Eight new captures were made during the past weekend on the island. One of them corresponds to the murder of last Wednesday, April 8th.
Colonel Maria Elena Gomez Mendez gave more information about the capture of alias Rollizo, who was the mother of Jose Miguel Valdiri Hawkins in the criminal act that took place in Rockwall a little less than a week ago.
La actividad que se adelantó.
The activity that was carried out against Mr. Jorge Alberto Barker Diaz, better known as alias Rollizo, a criminal actor in the Cliff neighborhood. This individual has a record for aggravated theft, a record for larceny, and was serving a prison sentence.
On the same line, the colonel explained who was the victim of alias Rollizo.
Particularly for Wednesday, April 8, a tragic event occurred with the citizen Jose Miguel Valdiris Hawkins, who unfortunately was killed. We were able to identify the aggressor and thus begin the pursuit of the offender, arriving at the Cliff neighborhood where we were able to capture this person.
Finally, the commander of the police department spoke about the capture of 7 Cubans who entered the island with false passports.
Para el fin de semana, el Departamento de Policía.
For the weekend, the police captured 7 people, all of them from Cuban nationality. We were able to verify that the 7 persons of Cuban nationality identified themselves with false documents. They were presenting documentation as if they were Venezuelan.
Successful was the assessment of the black crab operation in the archipelago. 1,800 million pesos were allocated to strengthen the 37 green businesses in the islands.
The director of the Carolina Environmental Corporation with satisfaction spoke to Teleislas News about the advances that were achieved and the projects that will be in progress in favor of the environmental recovery of San Andres, Old Providence, and Santa Catalina. The Vice Minister announced the extension of the payments program and environmental services that will end in the month of July, and that was extended until December of this year. There are currently 350 families linked to the initiative.
The economical alternative for this family that was being harmed for the hurricane, Iota hurricane. So this is a program that first the program was till July this year. But the Minister of Environment announced the carrying it to the 31st of December. Even in say we're going to try to do the best for say we can get it for the next year, the whole year next year for this.
Britain also spoke about the more than 4,000 million allocated by the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development for the restoration of the tropical dry forest.
Environment working with Impulsa to bring back these emprendedores, this business, green business, that can reactivate the economical situation. And then we'll be working in Providence, in San Andres. We'll have to clarify that that Fontour who had touristical business and restaurant and those that form part of this will be constructed by Fontour, but the parts, the capital, human capital, and the different capital like machine, different equipment that you need can produce, Ministerial and Impulsa will be working on that program.
Finally, the director of the Environmental Corporation for this year plans to plant about 14,000 trees in the municipality and about 4,000 in San Andres.
And the Gaula of the National Police has been deploying a campaign on the island with the aim of preventing cases of kidnapping and extortion.
The Gaula group of the National Police has been carrying out prevention campaigns with the slogan, "I do not pay, I denounce," in order to reduce the commission of criminal acts associated with extortion and kidnapping through the delivery of flyers and voice-to-voice message by police officers with security and self-protection recommendations.
A massive campaign is being organized to inform merchants and tourists about the extortion modality that has been occurring on the island. making known the availability of the 165 phone line, inviting the community not to pay, but instead to join our campaign, I do not pay, I denounce.
Cases of extortion associated with the search for sexual services has been presented recently on the island, as indicated by the Gaula Group. For this reason, it invites citizens not to resort to these services and denounce any type of extortion.
We invite all tourists not to request sexual services through web pages because there is no such service on the island. We have been informed that some people are requesting sexual services through web pages where they engage in conversation and are asked to send intimate photos and later on being victims of extortion or blackmail, where they are demanded money in exchange for not sending these pictures to their family or friends.
Another of the scam modalities that have been occurring on the island, according to the police, is the uncle or aunt modality, where criminals call the cell phone or a landline of houses and pretend to be a nephew of the victim and then make economic demands. For this reason, the authorities invite to denounce these activities to the phone line 165.
And in other news, the representative to the Chamber for the Department, Jorge Mendez, announced the progress of the National Pro-National University project, which seeks to generate more funding opportunities for the Caribbean branch.
The third commission of the Senate approved in to debate the project National Pro University, which will become an opportunity for more young islanders to access higher education in the islands.
Este es un proyecto muy importante para los jóvenes de las islas.
This is a very important project for the young people of the island, since we are looking for the creation of the National Pro University stamp, which is a source of funding for the Caribbean branch of the university, which will allow the PEAMA, which is the special program we have for San Andres and the remote regions, to access through the National University to the first semesters on the island and later in the interior of the city. In this case, we want to get more resources so that this PEAMA can have more islanders admitted.
The parliamentarian mentioned that this project will also help with resources for the support of students who access the National University.
With this project, we not only seek to increase the number of places for the islanders because it will have more funding, but we will also seek to include resources for the young people to have their support, because we know that being in the interior of the country, many families do not have the resources. Therefore, many of them have started their university career and had to drop out.
This project is expected to go to fourth debate next week in the plenary of the Senate and be ready for approval by the President of the Republic, and then come to regulation by the Departmental Assembly.
And in news from Old Providence, 2 people injured as a result of a confrontation this past weekend between youth from the Batam House and Southwest Bay sectors.
A person with several wounds from a sharp weapon and another with a wound by a firearm. This is the result of a confrontation that appears has been escalating during celebrations and agglomeration that has been taking place in the municipality of Old Providence during the weekends.
También allá en Providencia están haciendo las actividades propias.
Also in Old Providence, they are doing activities and turning on loudspeakers at high volume and taking out their vehicles and placing them at high volume when it is clear to everyone that in terms of COVID-19, there are some restrictions. I insist once again that at this time, this is really a matter of co-responsibility and conscience.
Injuries in the head, neck, and extremities with a sharp object, also a bullet orifice on the side of one of the injured.
Se nos presenta dentro de esas actividades.
Within these activities, there were injuries to a young man with a sharp weapon, and also to another person there was an injury by firearm on one of his sides.
The chief of police clarified that in a short time these incidents in the municipality will be clarified because whoever breaks the law will count the cost.
Tenemos la capacidad.
We have the capacity, and we are demonstrating that we can clear things up, and we are going to capture those who were responsible for these events. They either turn themselves in, or we will surely generate an arrest warrant for them.
During the event, some members of the community attacked the field hospital, causing damages to the only ambulance that the municipality has and endangered the life of medical personnel.
And Old Providence and Santa Catalina will be the first municipality to achieve herd immunity, as announced by the Minister of Health, Fernando Ruiz Gomez, from the National Unified Command Post in San Andres.
The immunization operation against COVID-19 in the islands of Old Providence and Santa Catalina is progressing successfully, as announced by the Minister of Health and Social Protection, with 80% of people vaccinated with their first dose.
We are already practically finished with the operation in Old Providence. We have vaccinated almost 2,900 people up until today, and the number we have left is very small, with a coverage of more than 80% of the population of the island, which gives us an important coverage. With this, we practically have herd immunity.
Herd immunity is important in the municipality given the amount of people that are entering to the island for the reconstruction of Old Providence and Santa Catalina. Providence will be the first municipality to reach it. But what is herd immunity?
When we talk specifically about COVID-19, the idea that say at least we get 80% of the whole amount of people where we got vaccinated, to abide for this 20% we left out. No got so much possibility to get infected amongst them. The idea that say we try to reach at least between 7 and 9 people out of 10 to get protected or to get vaccinated.
This is being sought for the protection of the most vulnerable population. That is why it's important to achieve herd immunity.
Specifically, the situation we're going on in Providence, where they don't reach the 80% of the people vaccinated, at least with the first dose, then they get really, really near to the herd immunity where they try to get with COVID-19. The idea that say the people will never get the infection before they apply them 2 doses.
The announcement is made in the middle of the second peak of contagion and the death of 1 person due to the virus in the municipality.
And as part of the commitments of President Duque and the Ministry of the Interior for the first 100 days of the reconstruction of Old Providence, the tanker truck for the fire department of the island of Old Providence has already arrived in San Andres. This firefighting vehicle had an investment of 490 million pesos. The tank capacity is 800 gallons with pumping power of 2,600 revolutions per minute. The announcement was made from the Twitter account of the Minister of the Interior, Daniel Andres Palacios. It is expected that in the coming days, this new vehicle will arrive to the municipality to reinforce the firefighting fleet of Old Providence.